All right, hello everybody. Good evening. Good evening, Stephen. Evening, Stephen. All right, let's go over to Rumble. There we go. See my man Vaughn in there. Who else we got in here? We got all right. Says having a hard time streaming to Rumble. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. So I'm not sure if we're on Rumble. Can't tell. Why is it having a hard time streaming? I don't know. Seems to be the MO. James? Landman, I forgot your name, brother. And then my man Vaughn. Kevin, Denise, Fuzzy Dice, Bill Forsyth. Oh boy. He's got a bone to pick with me, buddy. Oh boy. Well, that sounds exciting. I can't wait to hear that. I got a bone to pick with you, buddy. Yeah, Jeremy says this having a hard time connecting on Rumble. I don't know why that would be, man. Let me I put the StreamYard said it's having a hard time connecting on Rumble. Nah, I don't get it. Mark's in the house. Kenny, Que Paso. Ryan. Hey, Vinyl. Yeah. And then are we on Odyssey? I can't tell. I don't know anymore. I'll probably start an Instagram account, believe it or not. Turns out there's a lot more ladies on Instagram than on YouTube. And you know me, I'm all about the ladies. Oh boy. I'll probably start an Instagram account. I say that, but I'm just like, yeah, I don't really feel like doing that. Yeah, last year. So looks like I don't know what's going on. What is happening? I don't know. You guys want to see something? See, okay. Cool. All right. Make Rumble great again. I know. We got Stan and Rhonda right on. Stan and Rhonda. Okay. Right on. From Dayton, Ohio. Joey Torres from South Texas. All right. Mr. Toothy. Maybe the bone to pick is barbecue ribs and then ooh, I like that, Denise. That's pretty good. What would Bobby Orr do? He would score a goal, man. Look at Mike. You can tell Mike's an Irishman from Massachusetts. Look at him. Look at him. Look at that Mike there. You can tell he's an Irishman from Massachusetts that has his fair share of freaking Narragansett beer. All right, so that's pretty good. So look at Denise. When the good Lord gives you lemons, make lemonades. So William Forsythe has a bone to pick with me, buddy. He says. And I said, oh, that sounds exciting. Can't wait to hear what the bone is to pick me, buddy. And then Denise says, maybe the bone to pick is barbecue ribs as an invitation. Right on, man. Did anyone ever say William Forsythe supports Biden? I don't remember saying he supports Biden. I'm not sure what that's about. But looks like they're having trouble streaming on Odyssey too. No, I'm on Odyssey. So, all right. I don't know what's going on Rumble, man. So I'm on Odyssey, but not on Rumble. Kurt Suave says he got 9 left in his COP. Crap old position. We got Ike in the house. Right on, man. Appreciate y'all being here. Andrew, hating my boot, always a hassle. Yeah, Marie. All right. So Marie finally decides to show up. She didn't show up on Friday. It was like myself all by myself. Neither Marie or Jill were there on Friday on my Locals Only channel. James was there. That's it. I mean, there's other people there, but the only people that actually talk are Marie, James, a couple of the guys, and then Jill. That's it. And then when Jill and Marie, it's probably 60% of the peanut gallery weren't there. I was like, I was actually just watching a live stream, a video, but the Rageaholic, Razor Fist. I don't know if you ever see him. And he does this stream called Metal Mythos, and he was talking about Don Dokken. I don't know if you remember Dokken. Stood there thinking in your room. Doc was okay. A couple songs were freaking crushing, but they weren't all that in a bag of chips. But anyway, and I was just thinking, does anyone actually watch this? Except for I just kind of chuckle because Razor Fist is literally one of the best commentators there is. If you're not familiar with Razor Fist, hey Don, on YouTube, the Rageaholic, Razor Fist, one of the best commentators there is, without question. The guy he's a young guy too, not even that old, probably 35, something like that. He's a freaking genius. I mean, he's literally just a genius. He loves he loves metal. more of the classic metalish stuff, which doesn't, not, it's okay. Like he loves a lot of the metal-ish of not the thrash metal or hardcore like I like. The typical Judas Priest kind of stuff, and that's okay. I mean, that's fine. But the guys, but in terms of politics, the guys, I mean, he's one of the best commentators ever. He's funny as hell. And you're like, dude, it's amazing how many guys and ladies are out there who are just freaking like comedic legends that would never got a chance, like, because they wouldn't, back then to go onto the mainstream comedy tour, you had to sell your soul to rock and roll. And now that we got it right here on good old fashioned YouTube and social media, anyone could be a freaking star. It's nuts. And seeing the talents from people coming out is amazing. Anyways, you hear cattle decapitation. I'm not trying to, Jill. Hey, Jill. I wasn't. Yeah. See, like Def Leppard. No, don't ever say that again. Don't ever say it again. Def Leppard. Oh, in 1980. You know what I'm saying? Pyromania, whatever it's called. Had a couple good songs there, but that was, big. There was no metal back then that you could get on the mainstream, man. You know what I'm saying? So, and then they just went, horrible. Like White Snake had a couple good songs their first album too, and they just went horrible. It's like, dude, it's patently embarrassing. I guess I'm now pause on. Okay. Oh, that stuff is horrible, man. White Snake, Def Leppard. Oh, Landman. You don't want me to ban you, do you? Because flying in winter can be a bumpy ride. Yeah, I'm just goofing you. I won't ban the Landman, but jeez, horrible. Anyway. All right. So what we're I don't know, get the cattle decapitation thing. Oh yeah, no, I'm not. I thought about maybe growing out. I was with my brother last week. I was maybe we'll give it a shot, but it freaking itches, dude. I'll shave tonight. Probably tomorrow. And see, I can't. I got some splotches right here and right in there. You know what that means if you can't grow a full beard, don't you? Right there. That's right, Marie. The doors open by themselves. Does anyone know what it means if you got splotches on your beard? Anyone knows? You can't grow if you have a. I don't like. You gotta give it 90. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll try. My wife didn't like it. It's nice and soft. I gotta get used for the cold. I don't have what it takes for a beard. You're probably right. But to have splotches, what does it mean? Low T? No, I don't think that's it. It means you smoked too much dope. Smoked too much dope back in the day. You smoked too much of the devil's lettuce back in the day. That's why you have splotches on your beard. I never I smoked some devil's lettuce. I do not deny that, and I never liked it. It made me paranoid as all can be. I don't know how people do that like every day. I'm like, how do you do that, man? It made me paranoid as all can be. You got Fred Carter in the house. Well, Boss was good. The first iteration of Styx was, that was real good. I mean, until the stupid Mr. Roboto crap. Like, once it went in the 80s, it all sucked, dude. That's all there is to it. But the early editions, endeavors of Styx are freaking smoking. Chicago never did anything for me. REO Speedwagon. Herbs are good for inflammation. You know what else is good for inflammation? Well, yeah, like as reading my man Dr. Tom Cowan, who talks about grounding. Have y'all ever heard of grounding? Hey, Liberty. Hey, my man George. Look at George loves him some Pink Floyd. Anyway, so I've heard grounding is good for inflammation, where you're actually taking you're balancing your own electrical your essential electrons with the ground of the earth. I didn't say sail away was good. It's after that. Come on, Jill. Come on. Like that Mr. Roboto crap was horrible. The lady of the morning. I mean, that's freaking awesome, dude. Love that. That's hippie talk. Grounding. Anyway, Sammy Hagar did one song I liked, and that was it. Get your one-way ticket to midnight, hollering heavy metal. That song actually will live in infamy in my brain because got Richard Matera on Facebook. Right on, Richard. Appreciate you being here. Because that song, I remember when we lived in Peaks Island, my mom had a boyfriend over, Steve something. If I ever see Steve, I'm gonna freaking lay him out, and he knows who he is. If he's probably dead by now, frankly. But oh man, I hated that guy. Anyway, long story short, so her boyfriend came over, and I was washing the dishes, and I don't know what the hell. And I remember my dad was gone. Who knows where the hell he was? You know what I'm saying? I mean, chasing skirts in Portland, Maine, or Washington D.C. So he left 3 young kids with my mom on Peaks Island, and my mom wasn't, how can I say this? Maybe not up to the task to raise children on her own in a rural, remote place on an island, if that makes sense. So I'm a 10-year-old boy, essentially have to assume a lot of duties, if you know what I'm saying, that probably a 10-year-old boy should not have in the modern era. We are not talking pre-electricity, my friends. I get that. Back in the old days, I get it. I'm just saying. So my mom had a lot of dates, if you will. And one guy hung around for a little bit, some guy named Steve. And I will lay that guy out. Anyway, so I remember just washing the dishes one time, and I had my little, little jukebox, a little cassette tape recorder. This is before they had like those ghetto blasters, that little cassette tape recorders. And I was listening to Sammy Hagar, One-Way Ticket to Min, heavy metal. And he said, that song sucks, dude. That guy know how to play guitar. I said, oh, okay. And then don't listen. No, he sucks. And I was like, I just remember. And the whole point was that guy was he was such a freaking ass clown. And I was sitting there thinking, dude, just go over there with my mom. I'm just washing the dishes, listen to Sammy Hagar, and you're coming here. It's just a belligerent freaking scumbag. And if I ever get big, I'm going to lay you out, Steve. And if I ever see you, I will lay you out. And it's going to be fun for me, frankly. And that's just all there is to it, because hostility is still deep in my brain. And anyway, such. I know it sounds bad. Don't care. You know what I'm saying? And it'll never happen because I'm not a violent guy. But if this guy came to my front door on fire, I would even pee on him, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, long story short, that's where the Sammy Hagar song will always remain in the infamy in my head. And after that, Sammy Hagar is horrible. Van Halen with Sammy Hagar. Oh, just soulless music, man. You just like a Steve also, huh? Hey. Now Molly Hatchet freaking rocked. Oh yeah, here we go. Aerosmith up until the 80s, dude. Oh my goodness. Chloe should do a stand-up about your dad doing bad air guitar screech. I was just listening to, I love Molly Hatchet, dude. Leonard Skinner, Molly Hatchet, all that. Freaking Marshall Tucker Band, loved it. I never heard anything from Mountain other than Mississippi Queen. Dude, if you listen to Leslie West and Mountain, I mean, half the songs suck, but half the songs are freaking awesome. Dude. I'm telling you, I was like, damn. And then Blackfoot. I was like, man, I've heard of Blackfoot. I just never listened to them. I was like, holy crap, these guys crush. I was like, what the? Anyway, as I was listening to Blackfoot, I said, damn, dude, the hell was I mean, that 60s and 70s rock. The 80s, that's what the 80s was just all freaking. I mean, it was soulless. The 60s and 70s were soulful. And I don't know if it's because of Motown influence on, I don't know. But then it just went all soulless. It's horrible, man. Hey, there you go. Look at my man Vern. Had an epiphany last week. Told the miss I want to start an online radio station when I retire. So wedding DJ for, man. Yeah, dude. Outlaws. Yeah, I mean, it's like, how did I, yeah, Steve's probably pushing. Steve is pushing. Oh, Liberty. Steve is pushing Daisy. Yeah, he probably is. It's all back in the days where everyone was just, let me put it this way, free love, if you know what I'm saying. I never understood why women fell for that crap. Man, I don't want to get to it. It bores me. Stupid. There's nothing, let's just put it this way. A man feminist is the worst, meanest son of a bitch there ever possibly be. at Man Feminist. I'm just telling you right now. And as such, if you're a Man Feminist, you need to get the hell out of here right now. I don't want anything to do with it. And I'm not that big of a guy, but I do have hostility. I'm not going to lie to you. And the hostility comes out. It's not good, which is why I don't drink. But I do reserve my hostility for men who leave their children behind and other men who take advantage of a susceptible woman who needs some male companionship. If you know what I'm saying. And those guys should go pound sand if they're not already pushing up daisies. That's all there is to it. All right, dude. Synthesizer, right? And even Rush got Rush. Some guy says about Rush on here. I was like, I mean, look, man, I'm not here to criticize Geddy Lee. I'm not, but what I'm just saying is like, dude, it's just, ugh. Yeah, I just broke 75,000 subscribers, which is crazy. Montrose. Actually, I was just listening to a metal band. Like, well, the first Blue Cheer. Did we? I just talked about this, right? We already had these discussions. It seems like we did. Maybe it was, I can't remember. Blue Cheer. Maybe it was on the locals. Y'all ever heard Blue Cheer? Damn, so many good bands in the '60s and '70s, and just freaking awesome. Hair metal, dude. Oh. Yeah, well, Bon Scotty, AC/DC after a while got kind of boring. I think. I mean, after like Who Made Who and Thunderstruck. What was the one after Back in Black? I forgot. I got it. It's just like I mean, maybe I get a deeper taste of more raw music because I got into punk rock and hardcore and thrash metal. You know what I'm saying? And so maybe the old school metal of the early '80s, which kind of glommed onto freaking. I mean, just remember the hardest out song they ever played on the radio in the '80s, the early '80s, or late '70s, early '80s. I think it was the early '80s. Was "You Got Another Thing Coming" by Judas Priest. That was it. That was the hardest song they ever played. And it's like that song is not very hard. It's like, ugh. Sammy Hagar, dude, what a clown! What a clown! I just say that because I knew. But who am I? There's a band, freaking Who Made Who's my favorite ACD. Oh, dude, wait. Yeah, I never got. Actually, it's funny. They just came across my list lately. The Outlaws. Never listened. I mean, I know of them. I just never listened to them. But that came across my YouTube thing. It's pretty cool. Yeah, Whole Lot of Rosie, right there, dude. But not that. Oh man, I can't play it on YouTube. Rock and roll was born. The white man had something. The black man had the blues. Let there be rock. Let there be rock. Oh man, let there be rock, dude. That freaking let there be rock. And then AC/DC actually had the first bagpipes in a song. Isn't that crazy? I think it's what you gotta to get to the top. It was like filmed in Australia or something like that. AC/DC had the first bagpipe. Tell me that's not crazy. Yeah, they always say that though, man. They always say musician. I just think there's something in. We actually just listened to some Traveling Wilburys the other day on the way back from my brother's house in South Carolina. I just think there's something in the air, if that makes sense, of the late '80s, early '70s of music that just popped. It was just insane, dude. I mean, and it's nuts. I actually not quite. Why is the Rumble not working? That's weird. Hold on a second. Edit. And the title. I did add title. Okay. Might be sent to the. I'm not sure why it's not going on Rumble. That's weird. I'm still not trying to. Edit. Tchaikovsky has "Let There Be Light." And there's light. All right. I know what's going on Rumble, but it ain't working. All right. But we're on Odyssey. All right. It's actually, what's real quick, and I know we're way into this and I haven't gone into our text to conversation. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. The Battlefield. Oh, Battlefield Band. Yes, I know the Battlefield Band vinyl. I know the Battlefield Band. Yes, I do. In fact, I think if memory serves, I have if memory serves, I had a client of mine from Philadelphia who told me about the Battlefield Band. And I bought something from it. He was up there, and I went to go. Where did he live? He lived outside Philadelphia, someplace. I went to his house as a client, and I remember. Anyway, it's interesting. But I had the Battlefield Band. You want to hear some cool music? It's Celtic salsa. And I can't play it because I'll get banned in DC. Celtica salsa, I think is what it's called. Celtica. Celtica. It's like freaking Latin music, and yeah, Celtica salsa. Salsa Celtica, yeah, dude. It's like Latin music with Celtic music. Oh, freaking crushes, dude. Love it. She keep talking to Chloe like she's here. As he ages musically, his memory helped. Good. That's interesting. Why you keep talking to Chloe? Is she here? That's funny. Anyway, so real quick, I was listening to it's shameful what happened to black music. No other way around this mumbling crap. Just a shameful, dude. I find it absolutely what the certain people who run things in the entertainment industry did to black music so they could get paid is one of the most despicable things there could possibly be. And it should anyone who has a deep appreciation for music that's from the soul, and it's just look, man, everybody's different, but blacks have a better way of expressing themselves than whites do in terms of music from the soul. That doesn't mean don't be stupid. I'm just saying at the end of the day, blacks are more rhythmic. I can't say it's a fact, but I think it's pretty obvious. And whites are less so. It doesn't mean whites have no rhythm. Just I mean, think about it. We're from the Nordic areas, don't get that much sun. Blacks from the southern areas where it gets lots of sun. You see what I'm saying? And I think that has something to do with the natural disposition. I absolutely do. And I think there's Charles Murray. I don't care about IQ. I don't care. But I think there's something about your disposition and your heritage without question that passes from generation to generation. I can't prove it. Don't really care to prove it. I just think it makes sense. Blacks just happen to be more outside in the better climes. Whites are more, and I think whites are a lot more preppers than blacks, frankly, because we are from the northern climes and we see that, hey, tough times are coming. We better prepare. I don't think blacks have the same level of preparation mentality that whites do. I just don't. I think it comes from the fact that the northern climes, you have to prepare for the winter. Southern climes, you don't so much. Oh my goodness. I'm so over caring. If someone calls it racist, I don't care. With that said, because of that, I also think blacks have more affinity to their dancing movement, percussion. I don't really think that's really all that debatable, frankly, but maybe it is. Anyway, point being is what happened was you had this group of people who controlled everything in the industry, and they said, something, how we really want to exploit the blacks is we want to have them promoting gangster rap to get the suburban white kids who are bored to fall into this. And that's literally what happened, dude. And they said suburban white kids will buy all and live vicariously through the gangster rap. Remember, what's that? Tupac Shakur? That guy. I mean, dude, that guy, if you look at that guy underneath, it's just look under the hood and you're going to see a guy that's very effeminate, very wanted, very pleasing, and wanted to have an audience. And he did whatever it took to have an audience. It's actually kind of funny when you think about it. And then he changed his persona to see, because this is what they did. They made them want to. It's like, you can't be like that. Michael Jackson, Prince, those guys are already done. Now we need a hardcore gangster guy, and that's where we're going to get money. And we're not going to appeal to the inner city blacks. They don't have any money. It's going to be the rich white suburban kids. I'm telling you right now, that's what happened. And the rich white suburban kids fell for it. This guy right here. I was a rich white suburban, was a white suburban kid. And I remember hearing freaking gangster rap for the first time. I said, that's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? And you're living vicariously through stories that these storytellers would tell. And, like people like Ice-T and NWA and stuff. And whether or not they even wrote the lyrics, I don't know. I mean, if Ice-T wrote his lyrics, more power to you, dude, because that guy was just a lyrical genius. No other way around that. I wonder if he actually did. But he could have. I mean, Ice-T was in the army. You know what I'm saying? He's not a stupid guy, that's for sure. So he might well have wrote his own lyrics. I don't know. I would be willing to predict a lot of the black gangster rappers didn't write their own lyrics. So I'd be willing to predict that. I think they're plucked out, just like the Pete Peterson from obscurity, some satanic being who runs Hollywood and runs, the David Geffens of the world. He picks out some black guy, says, "Hey, we want you to be our next superstar." And black guys, really, me? Yes, but you're gonna have to literally sell your soul. And I think that's what happened. I mean, there's no reason Snoop Doggy Dogg should be as popular as he is today, except he sold his soul. Maybe the guy's a clown. He's a clown. You know what I'm saying? We all know this. Everybody knows this. Why is he on just mainstream advertising? The guy's a freaking scumbag. Everybody knows this. Oh my goodness, I don't care, dude. I'm 52 years old. I'm over worrying about this. There's no way a guy like that from the suburbs was picked off to represent gangster blacks in freaking LA. It just doesn't work like that. And as such, they sold their soul for freaking music. And because the rich guys are running things, said, okay, who is going to do what we tell them? They probably had a lineup of 10 guys. 9 guys says, I'm not doing that. And they're righteous. And it's Snoop Doggy Dogg and Tupac Shakur said, I will do it. Same thing happened in rock and roll. I mean, this isn't blacks and whites. The same damn thing happened in rock. I mean, my goodness, man. But the issue is that at the end of the day, the rock musicians had to at least play their instruments. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just like going back to Donnie Dokken, listen to Dokken. I mean, actually, Donnie Dokken could sing, but I was listening to Razorfist talk about some of the guitar. There's good guitarists are a dime a dozen in mainstream rock and roll. I mean, just a dime a dozen. Tons of back in the 80s. You find a freaking guitarist anyway. You just freaking, you take some of Finney's poop and throw it out into LA. You're gonna find 10 guys who can play guitar without question. How come some got chosen? Because they were the ones who sold their soul, man. Anyway, so what happened was you took this wonderful Motown soul music and you corrupted it with essentially the whites who ran, and if you know what I'm saying, of the whites who ran the music industry, and this is what we got now. It's freaking disgusting. It's disgusting. And look, whites. I mean, look at what Britney Spears. What the hell is she doing? I don't know. I don't even know what Taylor Swift. And that's gosh, it's shameful. But it is what it is, man. And there's nothing you can do about it. But there's absolutely no reason that someone like freaking Snoop Doggy Dogg should be on these commercials advertising. It's freaking insane. Other than that, it's a false reality. Yeah, I think you're right, Vinyl. And well, given your background in Connecticut, and I imagine you've trekked on Wall Street many a times, it is amazing what people do for Wall Street. No, I will say, I mean, so hear me out for a second. Oh, dude, freaking, I just 100%. Like Peter Tosh, obviously Bob Marley. I mean, just Desmond Decker. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's why they'd never be that big. Never be that big. They did their own thing. Let's see. The Wrecking Crew is made up of expert musicians that provide back studio tracks for many art. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I'm sure there was, in fact, when I was reading about Charlie Daniels, how was it Marshall Tucker, Charlie Daniels? I can't remember. Charlie Daniels was doing, recording studio musician. Who is he recording with? I almost want to say Bob Dylan or something like that. Now I think about it, I can't remember. Charlie Daniels was recording, just a musician recording. And I said, well, that doesn't seem all that authentic to me. I love Charlie Daniels, huge fan of Charlie Daniels. But just like, really, Charlie Daniels was recording with Bob Dylan or something. And it was interesting. Well, Robert Johnson, some reason to believe that he sold his soul in the crossroads, if you know what I'm saying. All right. I don't know who Kroos is. Yeah, dude. All right. So John Gen X spells Rihanna R-A. I don't know. I asked my wife this the other day. Rhianna. All right. Rihanna, well, that chick from Barbados or some of that. RHIANNA. You guys aren't familiar with the Mandela effect, no? Because apparently now it's not RH John Gen X, it's RIH. Look it up, man. Look it up. Mandela effect working its magic right in front of our very eyes. He's trying to ban gas stoves. I mean, look, dude, they're going to do what they can get away with. I mean, we'll see how that. I'm not. We'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. I think at the end of the day, we'll see, man. I mean, can the EPA or the Consumer Product Safety Commission probably? We'll see how it shakes out, folks. It's crumbling, man. I mean, the whole thing is crumbling, and we can see it. It's the decay is here. That doesn't mean we got to panic, but there's just no two ways around it, man. There's no saving grace on this temporal plane. It's it's not going to happen, and as such, I mean, the evil is going to win temporary, and the good will win in the supernatural. And that's all there is to it. And as such, it's like they're going to ban things. They want you to have a worse standard of living, by hook or by crook. They want you to be comfortable with a lower standard of living. I don't know how people don't see it. I'm not saying you didn't, who said that about the gas stoves. But if you think it's going to stop at the gas stoves, you're crazy. You hear about the 15-minute cities in UK now? I mean, it's coming, dude. It's why is Janet yelling in Ukraine? And I just tell you, don't even pay attention to the news, dude. It won't matter. I mean, literally, just who cares? I mean, who cares? Biden's gonna do what he's gonna do. Janet Yellen's gonna do what she's gonna do. These are all serving the Dark Lord. There's no two ways around it. And half the Republican Party is too. I mean, Mike DeWine, you think he's on the right side of righteousness? Hell no. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing. It's gonna come. However, I do think that there is a sense of, I don't know. We'll see. I don't pay attention. I just don't care. Like, whatever, Biden, do your best. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I just find it interesting. We're funding the pensions of Ukrainians while we're banning gas stoves in the United States. Okay. All right. So let's see. Yeah, Janet Yellen's in Ukraine. That's freaking nuts. Keep me hanging on. So what I want to do is I want to bring up my right capital, talking to a guy today. And hold on just a second. You keep me hanging on. I was saying something I forgot what I was going to say, man. That's what I was going to say real quick. Just one more musical thing. So this is band Lucero. And there's a Spanish lady, Mexican lady named Lucero, and it's not her. It's like more of a Americana rock band called Lucero, and they got a new album out. I was like, damn, the singer just sounds weak. I was like, these guys are getting old, man, and it's interesting. They easily could have done more to make his vocal sound better, on the soundboard, whatever the hell they call it, PA system, I guess soundboard. But it sounded bad. I was like, oof, they're getting old. I've been listening to these guys for a long time. It hit me like when I was working out. I was like, man, everybody's getting old, man. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It just, it's funny. It's funny in a way, but we're all getting old, my friends. You basically got one generation left. That's it. Generation 20, 25 years. That's it. So I don't worry about the gas stove stuff. Just friggin' have fun. Enjoy what you got. Because it's coming, dude. The level of, and this is why I don't think the stocks are going to do very well relative to what Dave Ramsey thinks. The level of not just corruption, but pure ineptitude at the same time is coming. Our standard of living is going to drop by design. Remember, Obama himself said, by design, the prices of electricity under my plan will have to skyrocket. It's just a fact, Jack. Just a fact. So it's going to get worse. And it might not happen all at once, but a slow, steady decline. Short sleeve to short sleeve in 3 generations. Well, we're 3 centuries essentially, 3 millennium. And it's going to happen. So when you hear this stuff, I mean, A, there's nothing to do about it. B, you just say, okay, I'm going to live my best no matter what. I only got a generation left. But what about my grandkids? Yeah, they'll have to fend for themselves, man. I can't wait to have grandkids. I hope and I pray for them, but they're gonna have to take over, and hopefully they don't get brainwashed to the extent that my generation, my mom's generation, and my kids' generation seems like they're starting to see things a little bit differently, maybe. But the generation that I'm part of, I guess, is Generation X. I don't know what it is. The baby bust generation, and the baby boomers were brainwashed without question, and they're still trying to. I mean, they're still doing it. It just seems that maybe it's not becoming so much. Actually, my man David Hoffman, I wish I could show the video. It's a great video. Let me bring that up real quick. Keep me hanging on, because you're so strong. All right, there's a great video he did. If I can find it. All right, so here's my man David Hoffman. Vanilla Fudge. Yeah, I can't remember that. Share screen. All right. So this guy had a video right here. Oops. No, I can't do that. Don't want to do that. He had a video right here of right here. Father shocked taking his kids to supermarket. He had no idea. So as the supermarket kids were all like you know they were able to repeat verbatim what they saw on TV commercials. And the guy's like, "What the hell?" And I kind of chuckled at that because all these people are like, the kids are brainwashed by TV. And I say, oh, were you not brainwashed by a white lab coat? Talk to your doctor about Preveta's door, whatever it's called. I mean, it's the thing, dude. I just find it funny. All these people are like, I can't believe how brainwashed the kids were back then. As the same people like, let me go get my statins. Let me talk about. And I'm not saying if you take a statins, you're a bad person. Have you actually done any research at all to see if it's legit? You're just relying on the white lab coat. You've been brainwashed too. I've been brainwashed too. We've all been brainwashed too. But it's just kind of funny because these kids like whatever the commercial was, Chester Cheetah, whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? They're like, oh my, he knew the kids knew all the catchphrases of the cartoons and the commercials and stuff, and they couldn't even read. I think was what the guy was saying. And I just kind of chuckled. I said, you watch any TV show on Fox News or whatever, and it's gonna be all freaking talk to your doctor about this, that, or the other. Talk to your doctor about this, that, and the other. And it's like, oh, go get your jabs. Go get your freaking mask. Go. It's like they're all brainwashed. It's just the nature of the beast. What I will say at the end of the day, the interesting thing was I was thinking about this. I actually had an epiphany of some sort last night. I was like, Boomer here. We're all brainwashed in some regard, Denise. Not just you, but we all are. Hey, thanks, Brian. Doctors prefer Camel cigarettes, right? Mark says that's funny. Black doctors prefer Newports. When I smoked, I used to smoke Newports. Anyway, so I just listened to some band. I forgot what it was, and I was like, I was kind of chuckling at myself. I said, even if that same band, let's just put it this way. Let's say the same band was literally the exact same music, but they played today under a new moniker, new name. I wouldn't listen to it because as you get, this is why the prime target for advertisers is like the 18 to 45-year-old age groups. Once you hit in your 50s, you're not going to change, dude. Like, I'm just not interested in hearing a whole bunch of new music anymore. I'm just not. It's weird. So I go back and I just, listen to whatever. And I'm just like, man, I'm sure there's a million good bands out there now. I just don't have the time or the patience to wade through them, which is too bad. I'm just going to go to Old Reliable. You see what I'm saying? Isn't it weird? So it's like, anyway, this is why I did a video a long time ago on why whites are vanishing from commercials. And I said, I think it's a good thing because whites, A, we're older, and B, we're not susceptible to target advertisement anymore because we are older. And what happens is you have this newfangled group of lots of multiracial people, tons of, I mean, hell, a lot of places, Fulton County is a majority minority place. I mean, lots of majority minority places who, for the first time ever, have disposable income. So the advertisers are targeting them with their brainwashing. And the idea that whites should be offended by that, I said, no, whites should be happy by that. That means we're off their radar. It means the advertisers know that we are not susceptible anymore to their false promises. So they're putting their freaking, they're putting their things on other people to say, hey, those whites aren't going to buy our products anymore. They're too endowed in whatever they currently have, or older, frankly. But these young people they'll buy our products. That's why there's not as many whites on commercials. It has nothing to do with race. I mean, they can say it has to do with who's going to be more susceptible to the advertising. It's not a bad thing. I mean, if I was a marketer of Cheetos too, I wouldn't have a bunch of white kids on there. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't make any sense. So you got to go after what the target is, and the target isn't crusty old white guys like me because we've already made up our mind. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to give me an advertisement and say, Josh, you should listen to friggin' glam rock as opposed to hardcore. I'm not going to do it. You know what I'm saying? But now, and I'm not going to say, well, there's a new band out there. I don't care. I like what I had from the 80s and 90s. And that's what I'm going to listen to. It's just kind of funny, man. Bix Beater Beck. I don't know what that is. That's what they call a TV program, right on. Doctor says these drugs are crap. That doctor's crushing, man. Yeah, listen, Jill. I was done with new artists too. Too much good stuff to listen to. Too little. Exactly, 100%, Jill. That's the thing. It's like I know what is good, what I want to hear for the mood I'm in, and to shuffle through a bunch of stuff which I don't know if I'm going to like. I'm not going to take the chance because time's too short. So I'm working out. You know what I'm saying? I'll either like today I was listening to Razor Fist. A lot of times I listen to music, and a lot of the music I listen to will be music. And I was listening to Loose Arrow, will be bands I'm familiar with from many, many moons ago. I'm not going to listen to new bands by and large. If not by and large, 90% of the time I'll just listen to old stuff. And I'm a crusty old white guy, and that's as such is that you're like, I'm not going to take the chance to find something new. That sucks. I guarantee that, for instance, if I didn't listen to Telekinetic Yeti, Telekinetic Yeti, if I never took a chance on them, if I saw a video they did on YouTube, I said, I kind of like these guys sound. Telekinetic Yeti. So, yeah. Older music triggers pleasant. I get that, but I think it's more than just. I think you just know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like it's familiarity more than anything. Like Don Henley. There's a song by Don Henley that reminds me of a girlfriend I did in high school, which I like. There's a song, John Hyatt, which reminds me of something when I was growing up in Maine, which I enjoy very much. There's some songs that remind you of places you were. You know what I'm saying? And that's fun. But by and large, I don't have memories of bands. I just have saying, oh man, that music it's good for the mood I'm in. All right. So let's go. Advertising is targeting people that believe they deserve 1,000 count sheets and $500 pillows. That's fun, right? Whatever the 1,000 count sheet is, I don't even know, but that sounds rich. And it's probably Ben Shapiro's with a Bolin brand. And I think I bought those once from Rush Limbaugh. This is before I knew what promo code Ben Shapiro, promo code Shapiro. But Rush Limbaugh, he said I wasn't quite as crusty as I am now. Says, well, if these guys are advertising on Rush, I'm going to throw my support for Rush by making them richer. And I love Rush Limbaugh. Just got Boys of Summer. That's it, man. Boys of Summer. When they had the Grateful Dead saw a Grateful Dead sticker on a Cadillac or something like that. Okay. So let's get into it, my friends. I want to go into. We're already at 45 minutes left into this, dudes. Cheese, Louise, and blue cheese. Would you guys just keep me on track for once, please? We're gonna go to Kevin Sample. Y'all see that? Deadhead sticker on a Cadillac. Don't look back. And then like a song by the Cars reminds me of bow 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 bow. I remember I can see myself playing basketball for Cathedral Middle School in Portland, Maine. Listen to that song, going to play a team in Westbrook or something like that. I can see like we're on this bus, and Mr. Paul is our coach. And I remember it was weird. I hear that song, I remember that. So there are some memories of songs, but I don't have like every song I hear, I'll think like, oh my goodness, can't talk about love. It doesn't make me think of anything. All right, so let's go into this. All right, so let's go to profile. We got Kevin Sample. Let's see how old he is, because I want to kind of model something like the guy was doing today. And this guy is 67. So we're gonna make him 62, just for giggles here. 60. There we go. 60 won't matter. I could. And we're gonna say he's got a net worth of $1 million. All right. And we're gonna just say, and we'll put it on IRA. He's got a net worth of $1 million schmackers. Put this in the plan. All right. And we'll make it a growth portfolio. There we go. All right. And then his goals, he's going to need 50,000 a year of income. We don't want anything else. Just 50,000 a year of income, which is what, 41 something? 4166 a month. All right. And that's it. So let's just bear with just 1 second. No Social Security, nothing. We're just going to take 5% a year from his portfolio. Let's just make sure that took. Hold on just a second. And we got to get this. So we got to start that. That's. Yeah, why not start? How old is this guy? Hold on a second. Why is the expenses? Other inflows, outflows. Oh, he's got, okay. I don't want social. I got some. I don't want Social Security. All right, so we're gonna get rid of Social Security. That's where it was. All right, hold on a sec. There we go. And we're saying no Social Security. There we go. All right. Sweet. This will make sense when I hold on just real quick. Here. And we just want to compare these guys. And we're just going to current allocation. Looks good. Just make this like that. All right. So these should be the same. All right. So there we go. We got, okay. So that obviously that doesn't look good. Let's go to cash flows and see what's going on here. So we go to cash flows. He's taking 57,000 out. He needs 50,000 to live on. It's going to cost him 7,000 in taxes. So he's taking 57,000 out. So I want him to say his total expenses, including taxes, are 50,000. So we're going to come down here and make this 3,500 a month, roughly. Maybe 30. We get 3,650. I want that first year to be 50,000 bucks, or pretty close to it, if that makes sense. If that's okay with you, Andrew Ulrich. There we go. Perfect. All right. So everybody with me so far? All right. So let's see what we got. All right. The card. Bow, 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 bow. I like the nightlife, baby. All right. There we go. She said. All right. So that's 50,000 here. All right. Good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to analysis. And we're going to see that he only has a 65% probability of success. He's leaving 145,000 behind. That's fine. I mean, literally, that works just fine. And I'll show you why that is, because we're going to go to cash flows. It doesn't bother me in the least. And you can see he's got no money coming in. He got no Social Security, none whatsoever. All right, so he's just pulling off his. There's a reason I'm doing this, guys. He's pulling off his 3,500 bucks a month he needs to live on, and he's got to pay tax on that money, and so it's costing 50,000 a year. All right, each and every year he does that until he's 75, and then it'll drop by 10%. So from 62 or 63 to 75, it'll drop by 10%. And then at 85, it'll drop by another 10%. All right, so right there. That looks pretty good to me. So if he were to say, Josh, I'm going to jump off a bridge or I'm going to retire. I said, dude, you're fine. I wish there's a 75% probability or higher, but 65% as opposed to jumping off a bridge, you're going to be just fine. If we actually look at your confidence, you can see here, not even until you're literally at 78 years old, 79 years old, 5% of the time you have less than you ran out of money. However, 5% of the time you have over 1.3 million. Your median at 79 years old is $412,000. So you're doing okay. Now, the point being is, actually, we're going to make this a little bit. There's a point I'm trying to make here. I don't really care about the probabilities necessarily right here. We're just going to say $3,300 a month, and let's just look at it. I don't care about healthcare. I don't care about I don't care about any of that. I'm just trying to show you something here. All right, here we go. Actually, that's a second. I'm just trying to prove a point here. Let's just make this 3,000. We're just saying, oh, what's this guy's name? Kevin? Yeah, Kevin. All right, so he's going to spend probably about 45,000. 40. There we go. Perfect. So Kevin's going to spend 42,000, 40,000 a year. All right. He's like, dude, I got no mortgage, no debt. It's just me and my dog. I don't need that much money. I got 40,000 a year. There's your good old fashioned 4% rule on a growth portfolio. I'm only giving you right here, a 5.5% rate of return with an 11.7% standard deviation, which means on any given year, 5.5 would be our median rate of return. Our standard deviation times that by 3, so that's going to be about 36. On any given year, he could be down 31%. All right, any given year, he could be down 31%. All right, let's just check the peanut gallery, make sure everyone's following me there. A little more. Okay, more comments. Anything on? Looks like Odyssey's freezing up. Don't know why. Oh, all right, cool. There you go. Good. All right. Good. All right. So on any given year, he could be down 31%. How we got there saying that is we take the 5.5 is our average rate of return, our mean, and we take the 11.7 standard deviation. I'm just going to round it up to 12 for simplicity. We times that by 3, it's 36. All right, so what happens here, this is how Monte Carlos work. They say, what is your average rate of return? 5.5. What's your standard deviation? 12. Times that by 3. That means within the statistics that we're inputting into the software, we're saying that in any calendar year, your portfolio could be up 5.5% above this or down 5.5% minus this on any given year with 99.8% probability. That's 3 standard deviations. Now, is that science-y? Well, it is, but it doesn't mean anything. It's just we have to start with something, and we're going to input it based on low mean rates of return and high standard volatilities or standard deviations, volatilities. So that's what I do in my software. You could do 12%. I don't care. Hey, what's up, big boy? What are you growling at? All I'm saying is minus 31%. That's what we're looking at for the downside risk, everybody. Minus 31%. All right. So, given what we just talked about, my man Kevin's got 85% probability of success. That means 85% of the time he leaves money behind at his death, and the median assets he leaves is $410,000. So I tell Kevin, you probably need to spend some more, but that's not the point here. All right. And again, we look at the confidence thing, we can see right there at 82 is the first time he has spitting distance of nothing. 5% of the time he has no money. 5% of the time he has over 1.6 million, depending on what the markets do at 82. He never hits nearly close to 25% of the time ever. So he's looking pretty good. I'm very comfortable in that. And I'd say absolutely that's a great retirement plan if you can get by on that money. And I don't care about healthcare. I don't care about that right now. I'm just using this for an example. All right. So we're going to go back to cash flows. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say, okay, we're going to go to accounts. So he started year 1 with 1.014 million, but he had to take Actually, yeah, he started year one with 1 million. He took 40,000 out. All right, so now he has 54,000. He got return because we got 5.5% rate of return. It's a linear rate of return. You're not going to get linear rates, but we're just, what else can you do? So he's left with 1.014 million. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take that 1.014 million, right? And we're going to stop sharing the screen for just a second. Oops. Oh, yeah. Oh, not seeing a chart. Okay. Well, I didn't show you the chart. Sorry. Let me show you. Sorry. All right. So, see the, yeah. All right. So he started the year with $1 million. He took 40,000 out. He has a portfolio return of $54,000. So we take 54,000 minus the amount he took out, and he added to his capital 14,000 bucks. All right. So now this is a linear rate of return, about 5.5%. You're not going to get a linear rate of return. I mean, look, you can see he's always adding more to his capital than he's taking out because he's taking 4% or whatever it is out, but he's getting 5.5%. That's silly people would say that's how retirement planning is still done in many areas, by the way. Nuts. But anyway, that's me. All right. So we know though this first year, he's $1 million. He took out 40. He made 54,000. He's left with 1.014 million. So let's 1.014 million. Now here's where the rubber hits L road. 1.014 million. Now, what did we say the downside risk could be? Well, we said the downside risk could be. So anyone remember what we said the downside risk could be? Anybody remember? Let me show it to you again. Who remembers what that was? The downside risk in any given year. What was that downside risk? Who wants to take a gander? We just talked about this. So unless you guys weren't listening, unless you're being a cheesehead loves points, unfortunately, cheeseheads don't get any points. They don't get any ladies either. The cheeseheads don't get any ladies. Look at Marie. Yes, man. Marie crushes. Take back seat, Mark, but at least you have the guts to say something. Andrew's from Ohio. Can't blame him. Mark, where are you from again? Yes. Look at Gordon and Marie. All right, all right, good. We got some people who got it. All right, everybody else, boy. Andrew said 36%. Oh boy, Andrew, we got some remedial training for you after class, sir. All right. So anyway, he could be down 31%. All right. So we take our 1.0. I'm goofing on you. I'm goofing on you. 1.014 million minus 31%. Oops. So he'd be down to $699,000. Chicago. All right. So Andrew's from Ohio. Mark's from Chicago. So no wonder why they didn't get the math isn't that great for those people in the Midwest. But Jill got it right. She's from Indiana. I'm not sure if Mike Connor is. Well, he's got to be from Boston area. I mean, it looks like he's a drunken Irishman. And I said, all love, brother. Not sure if Stan and Rhonda from CK. And now Landman comes in. He says, now that everyone answered 31. That's right. Oh, that's funny. Oh, man. The answer actually is 36, Landman. New Jersey here. Right on. Okay. All right. Georgia. All right. Where, Mike, were you initially from up there? Where are you from originally, Mike? Yeah, look at old Mike there. Look at old Mike. Dude, that's the epitome of an Irish New Englander right there. And I say it with all love, dudes. Oh, well, Jill's got a mathematics degree. Ooh la la. Ooh, Jill's got mathematics degree. So next time we talk math, let's run it by Jill. Goof on you, Jill. You're from Toledo, Ohio. What? What the hell, dude? Anyway, Stan and well, look, Stan, freaking Andrew standing Rhonda from Ohio too. You guys had to partner up and give old Andrew a little bit of math tutorials. Jeez Louise and blue cheese. All right. Freedom Will Ring is from Brooklyn. Freedom will ring and ain't ringing in New York State. You hear what your stupid governor's trying to do now? You will have low impact, poor Section 8 housing in your suburbs, whether you like it or not, or the state is going to dictate it. It's coming in New York State. You don't want Section 8 housing next to you? Sucks for you. Kathy Hochul is going to put it there. You think Kathy Hochul is going to have any Section 8 housing next to her? No. You think there's going to be any Section 8 housing in friggin' whatever that Hamptons? No. But it's going to be there in Watertown, New York, whether you like it or not, baby. All right. So he can be down to six. We're going to say $700,000. All right. So now what we're going to do. Andrew says he can only read blueprints. His wife is a CPA. Oh boy, because you got to be a CPA to falter. I got you. It's all good. Anyway, so let's go now. So now we got our man, and we're 1 year older now. All right. So remember, at the end of 2023, this guy had invested assets of 1.014 million. But now he's going to be a year older. All right, so we're going to go to profile, and we're going to make him a year older. And we're just going to do that by changing his date of birth to 1959. All right, so he's 64 years old. But now we're going to put his net worth as not a million bones, but at 700,000. Right? We use 3 as a probability. I don't know why we do 99.8% versus I think 2 is 95%. We just use 3 for some, and that's not even frankly enough. I mean, my man Mandelbrot has got a book back here. Let me see what's going on. Benoit Mandelbrot has got a book back here about even the statistical probabilities of financial planning is stupid. I'm not gonna be able to find it. And then there's another one, my man Edward something models behaving badly. I won't be able to find it. Well, I'm under pressure. I'm under pressure. I mean, it's just as silly. Like for instance, when the Dow fell in 1986, as much as it did. Yeah, the misbehavior markets. There we go. It's a great book. It's a great book. It would never have happened under modern statistics. The Dow falling that much never would have happened ever. It was like it would have taken 1 in a trillion years or something like that. Yet it did. It happened. We all saw it happen. And I mean, I was 18 years old, but we saw it happen. So it did happen. But statistically, that should never have happened. And yet it did. So you got to be careful for that. But we always use 3 standard deviations. Anyway, great book is The Misbehavior of Markets, Benoit Mandelbrot. If you read Nicholas Nassim Taleb, he talks about Mandelbrot a lot. People want to see patterns in the world. Between the wars, Yevgeny something, a Soviet statistician, showed how even the record of a Brownian motion, accumulation of a coin toss game, can appear deliberate and ordered. The eye spontaneously decomposes into up and down cycles and then into smaller cycles that ride the bigger cycles and so on. Add more data and more cycles appear. These are real, of course. They're a most mere juxtaposition of random changes. And I just flipped that because what happens is we think, oh my goodness, we're flipping a coin. You had 10 straight flips that are heads. Inherently, you think statistically the next one would be head. But it's not. It's going to be 50-50, heads or tails. It doesn't matter. You know, your 9, 10 previous coin flips had no understanding. The next coin flip has no understanding what happened the previous a million times. We place control of the world's largest economy in the hands of a few elderly men, the central bankers, and women now, Janet and Ukraine, you freaking fool. Yeah. We place control of the world's largest economy in the hands of a few elderly clowns. the central bankers. We do not understand what they do or how, but we have blind faith that they can somehow induce the economic spirits to bring us financial sunshine and rain and save us from financial frost and pestilence. A rough estimate would place perhaps 100 serious students of fractal financial and economic analysis around the world. Most are in academia, publishing in those few scholarly journals that allow such heresies into print. Not many do. I'm just looking at stuff I highlighted. Oh, modern portfolio theory. He destroys the modern portfolio theory, which I love. Modern portfolio theory bases everything on the conventional market assumptions that prices vary mildly, independently, and smoothly from one moment to the next. If those assumptions are wrong, everything falls apart. That's why we use 3 standard deviations. Rather than a carefully turned profit engine, your portfolio may actually be a dangerous, careening rattletrap. This was spelled out first by Fama. Conventional wisdom holds that if you do the picks correctly, about 30 different stocks can provide an optimal portfolio. In fact, he found in a 1965 study, if you assume wild price variation, you need many more stocks than that, perhaps 3 to 4 times as many. On average, the conventional methods underestimated basic market parameter. I guess he's saying it's volatility by way underestimated. When you pick a stock by the conventional method, you may be adding risk rather than reducing it. Ooh. Whether you use convention, standard deviation, or some other estimate of new volatility, the entire theory is founded on the belief that market averages are important. And you can use the Dow or the S&P 500 as a good yardstick to measure the risk of every single stock. But what use is an average when the individual stocks diverge so wildly and predictably from it? What is the average location of the stars in the galaxy? That's 100%. And there we go. The technology that we're using right now is called a Monte Carlo simulation. You tell a computer how you think prices vary specifically and what kind of random number generator it should use. Yep, 100%, man. Anyway, just such a good book. Anyway, just he's right here. Contrary to popular opinion, mathematics, Jill, you'd like this. Mathematics is about simplifying life, not complicating it. That's weird because no one understood Einstein to include Rutherford. Oh my goodness. Rutherford, who is who? If memory serves, the first American won a Nobel Prize in physics or something like that. Anyway, so let's go back. All right, so we're using Monte Carlo have lots of issues without question because you're only it's junk in, junk out. I like to look at 2008 though as the standard bearer for downside risk. All right, so Wellington was down in 2008. Wellington was down. I think Wellington. Oops, hold on a second. I got it in my book. I just can't remember. I want to say 37% or something like that. VW. What's the ticker? I can't remember. It's like 37%, whatever. So Wellington was down 37% in 2008. All right, so I'm what I say 31% in this portfolio, but Wellington has averaged well above 5.5%. So a little bit of give and take there. So I'm reducing some of the downside risk, but I'm having a little bit less rate of return as well. All right, so 2008 is the standard bearer. All right, 2008 said if we get hit again like 2008, can you survive? All right, so let's go back and look at Right Capital under the context that 2008 was the worst market we've ever had. It's not true, Josh. 1930 was. Not when you factor in inflation. 2008 was the worst market we've ever had, factoring in inflation. All right. It's just fact. 1930, we had deflation of 9%. So if you take your negative 44% return in 1930, subtract negative 9% for deflation, you have less rate of return on the downside than you did than 2008. 2008 is the worst market we've ever had. So I'm basically modeling this as if a 2008 happened again. So what we're going to do now is this guy was down 31% after his first year of distributions. He's 1 year older, so he's a year closer to death. Watch what happens. He went from 85% to what? Oh my goodness. 49%. So now, whereas before it was 82 before he first was spitting his run out of money, now it's 77. All right. So now he's down to 77%. At the year 77 years old is what 5% of the time he runs out of money. In fact, it gets even worse. 25% now at 82%, 25% of the time he ran out of money by the time he was 82. In fact, right there, more than half the time he ran out of money by the time before he's dead. Because that 1 year. But stocks come back. Right? Well, let's take a look. They always do. Well, we don't know that to be true. It's silly to say that, but okay. But anyway, I want to stress that enough, man. People all the time, they say, I can handle it. Can you handle that? Can you? Can you? Obama, his birthplace, can you? Can you actually handle that? If we were to have the same conversation a year later, and I said, look, man, you're at 49%. And you're going to be like, what happened? I said, you were at 85% last time. I said, yes. Last time you were at 85%, but then we had a 30% decline in the market. Now, that was priced into it last year. Last year, we still had 85%, even including a 35% decline in the market. The reason this is at 49%, because it assumes there could be another 31% decline this year. Now, could that happen? Anything could happen. Will that happen? No. I hate to say no. But that's what happens, dude. So the guy I was talking to today, last year, he was at 95. I can't remember. Maybe it was 2 years ago. I forgot. But 95 or something like that. He concocted his thing a little bit off to make his plan not look so good. And I was able to fix it a little bit because he was double booking for expenses. But he's still at like 78% or something like that. And I could tell he's like, dude, what the hell? So we're down, man. We're down. It's already been priced into the Monte Carlo last year. But that's the issue with Monte Carlo. Last year's numbers are still relevant. Why? Because last year we didn't have a 20% decline in the market. Now we did. What's the likelihood for another 20% decline? Well, if it happens, this is where Kevin Sample is. He's at 49%. If we get another, in this case, 31% decline, what's the likelihood of that happening? It's just not high, dude. It could, but it's not. But so what happens is when you start seeing, like my man Mark said, I couldn't handle that. Right? Not in retirement. I don't think people realize the downside risks. I don't. But my Monte Carlo says 85%. This one did too. It said 85%. One bad year and it made it below 50%. I can handle that. Bull crap, dude. Not talking Mark. I'm just saying, generally speaking, not you guys here because you guys are smart. Everybody else is dumb. I'm saying the audience out there, like I can bull flipping crap. Bull crap. You were sitting there. You can handle it while you had money coming in because you're working. You probably had more money coming in than going out the door because you had all this disposable income. Those days are now gone. You can't handle that. I couldn't handle it. Scare the living bejeebus out of me. I'd be thinking we're going to Japan. Literally, that's what I'd be thinking. And then even worse, you know what I'd be thinking even worse? I would be even thinking even worse. Check this out. You don't want to know something that's going to bother you? Let's go to Portfolio Visualizer. I can't stress this enough. This ain't no joke when it comes to retirement, man. We're going to go to Portfolio Visualizer. We're going to say from 2000, we'll just say 2010 to 2022. We'll say we put $100,000 in Wellington. Share the screen. And this is where it's going to get even more painful. $100,000 in Wellington, 2010. There we go. And we didn't take any money out. We just retired. But I got to put Oops. And you're going to sit there and I'm going to say, man, you had $100,000. Even after the bear market, you're sitting at 300 and you didn't take any gains off the table. And you're going to say, but I couldn't sell. Look, I was down from 338 to 300. I mean, I couldn't sell. I couldn't sell because it was down. Is that down, people? Is that down? It's not down. It's up. It's up freaking from $100,000 in 2010 to $300,000 in 2022, even with the bear market. If you can log it, I mean, it's going to look a little bit different, but I mean, look at that. You can log it here. So the from 100 to 200, that's, we'll say 2 inches, and from 200 to 400, that's 2 inches as well. But you can see the growth of that, even with a log scale, actually looks even more growth. That's not down. Just people don't understand. They're like, I'm like, you were up, dude. You're up from 2010, but I can't sell because I'm down. You're freaking not down. Am I telling you to sell everything? No, I'm just saying, dudes, the interest. You can't. You will not be able to sleep at night if you said, now I'm going to be down another 35%. And from here, so if I'm at 289, we'll just say 300,000 for simplicity, right? And I'm at $300,000, and I'm down another 35%. Now I'm at 210, and you're like, I freaking $140,000. I just because I couldn't sell when it's down. I left $90,000 on the table. So I went from 100 to 330, which went down to 300. But I couldn't sell then because I didn't want to sell when it's down. And it went down. Now I'm at 210. And now my Monte Carlo says I'm a 45% probability of success. And I lost $90,000 because I could not sell at 300. So I got to get back to even. It's not rational. It's one thing if you're working, you're out of money. It's a whole different ball of wax, dude, when you're freaking retired, dude. I'm telling you right now. The idea that you're down from last year is freaking nuts. Yes, you're down last year. Who gives a rat's behind? You're not down from 2009. But let's even take a look. Because if we look at Wellington over the course of the 20 years, and don't forget, the odds were, we had 3 of the worst market cycles in history. 2 were in the aughts, people. Aughts being the 2000s. I mean, it was insane how bad the aughts were. Now, we made all that money back in the teens. So we're back to breaking even, basically. But, I mean, well, not breaking even. We made all that money back. But $100,000 in 2000 is worth $526 in 2023. That ain't being down. If we log it, it's only going to look even worse. That's nothing. You survived the 2 of the 3 worst bear markets in U.S. stock market history, and then at least since the turn of the last century. And we got that money back. And now you're like, I can't sell. And now when the markets go down, guess what? You're gonna be freaking jump out of a cliff. You're like, man, I left all that money on the table. Yeah, 1973 and 1974 were bad. Not as bad as 2008, not in the least. Remember, 2000, 2001, and 2, the S&P was down 9, 11, and 22% respectively. And even in the first quarter of 2003, it's down another 10%. So as if you want to factor in inflation, 73 and 74 is down about 44% when all is said and done. Yeah, probably if you factor in inflation, probably 73 and 74 are probably worse than 2001 and 2. They're close though. They're close. And then, but the issue is that we got swamped in 2007, 8, and 9, and that's the issue. We haven't got swamped. I mean, look at that run. Anyway, so let's go back to Right Capital. So now we're like, okay, so now I'm at 49%. We're going to look at cash flows, and we're going to see where we are at the end of 2000 right here. So now we started this year with 6. Can you all see that? No, I don't. Second. I just don't think people see the risk, dude. It's nuts to me. Well, the market historically has come back. Yeah, and in the long run, we're all dead. John Maynard Keynes said. So it's come back in the long run. You might not be around the long run. So here's again. So this is after year 2 now. We started the year at $700,000. We took out 40,000 for because we need a certain amount of money, 40,000 a year. If you want to do a 4% rule, that's fine. But I guarantee you're like, I can't do a 4% rule here. I need a certain amount of money. The 4% rule accompanies that, by the way, just FYI. But anyway, I took out $40,700, and I only made 38,000 in this portfolio. So I'm now tapping into principal, even though this is linear. My net withdrawals are more than my portfolio returns. You can see it starts to get a bigger and bigger gap there, bigger and bigger gap. And this planned distribution is just RMDs. And so here I took out $50,000, but only made $35,000. Yeah, that's not good. And that's with what? An average rate of return from here on, 5.5%. Or 5.5% right there. 5.5%. It's freaking ugly. It's the ugly duckling, dude. And that's only a 31% decline. That's no big deal. Crap happens all the time. And so you're sitting here thinking, oh, and yet I'm getting 5.5%, but my portfolio distribution rates, 40 divided by 700,000 is 5.7. So 5.5, 5.7, and then slowly gets bigger. 40,000 divided by 7, you can see slowly 43,000 divided by 693, 45,000 divided by 681, 50,000 divided by 650. Yeah. Things are stinking in Denmark, man. All right, so now what we're going to do, though, is we're going to say, okay. So now let me show you. He ended the year with 697. All right, so even though he made 5.5% on his return on a linear basis, he still ended this year with 697. So now we're going to say he got a 20% increase in his portfolio. All right, so we're going to say 697. He got a 20% increase. We're going to go to profile. And now he's at 697 plus. So now it's at 836. Oops, not that one. 836. All right, and he's a year older. Everybody with me on that so far? So he got skunked. Year 1. Year 2, he made 5.5%. Year 3, he made 20%. And now he's obviously another year older too. Now his retirement, let's see what it shows. It went from 49 to now he's back at 77. The question is, could he have hanged and when it was down to 49%? Now he's back at 77 because he made a 20% rate of return. Would he have sold? I bet he would have. If he did, he would have missed that 20% upside. Now, that doesn't mean that 20% upside is guaranteed, though. That's the issue, my friends. That's the scary thing. I mean, just because I'm saying, if you can hang in there, if the markets come back like they should, we hope, you're going to be at 77% rate of return, or success rate, because that 1 year captured back enough of the losses that you had. But I mean, that's some trying times, man. Trying times. Because if you only averages 5.5%, he's at 49%. So if you don't get that big year pretty doggone quickly, things don't look good, man. Things don't look good. What's VFIIX? I don't know what that is. Which one is that? Is that the Vanguard? I know it's a Vanguard fund, but I'm sure you could look it up. I don't know. Psychological roller coaster. It's one, and I tell you, all these tough guys. The Ginnie Mae fund, yeah, probably haven't done much. Oh yeah, VFIX. That's Ginnie Mae. How did I not know that? I don't think it's done much because the freaking interest rates are so low. S&P 500, 100 in 1970, 132 in 1975. Okay. What does that have to do with anything? Anyway, so the point being is, I don't think I can handle that roller coaster. I don't. So my man Mark was talking about T-bills and stuff like that. So what I was telling this guy today is like, dude, he was heavy. How dare you, Red Room? He was heavy into. We did so last year. We did 25%. Well, he did. I don't manage money. 25% the G fund, 25% the C fund, 25% the S fund, and 25% the I fund. And I think he's down. I want to say 5%. Yeah, I think he had like $1 million there. Now he's down to 950, something like that. I said, dude, go 50% G. This is what I would do, and 50% C, and ride that sucker out. And the drawback with a TSP for military people is you can't just say I want to take 50,000 from my G fund. It doesn't work like that. But what I'm saying is, dude, the G fund right now is paying like 3.7 or something like that. Guaranteed, no downside risk at all. But what about inflation, Josh? The stocks a hedge against inflation? Yes, prove it. Well, since 1926 to 2023, people don't realize how silly that sounds. From 1926 to 2023, stocks are a hedge against inflation. So for me right now in 2023, as a 52-year-old man, I'm going to base my model retirement plan on what happened the last 100 years because I will be around for another 100 years. This just is freaking stupid. I hate those kind of arguments. Well, 1926 to 2023, stocks have averaged 11% a year. It's just so freaking stupid, man. Anyway, so the point being is, if you're worried about inflation is death by 1,000 cuts. What's not death by 1,000 cuts, an acute pain, acute chopping off an extremity is a 35% decline in the markets, especially if you just retired. So with this guy, I wasn't saying go 100% cash. The G fund is a government bond fund for the TSP, kind of like a Ginnie Mae. Yeah, G fund right there. It's so funny, man, how many people were crapping on the G fund for years. The G fund sucks, man. It sucks. I'm going to look at my C fund. You're an idiot. Is the G fund at risk the way the treasury bills are? Well, you better not buy any. So, all right, I don't know who F. Herrick is. I'm going to pick on you for a second. But look, don't take this personally. I appreciate your comment, but you give me a chance to pick on you, and I'm going to do it. Please don't take this personally. If you take it personally, then you probably want to leave. Is the G fund at risk the way treasury bills are in the event of a U.S. default? So basically, the G fund is a government bond fund, and we're just going to say government bonds as a whole. Treasury bills, not just the G for the TSP. Are government bond funds at risk the way treasury bills are in the event of a U.S. default? All right, so let's think about this just a second. If government bonds default, what 100%. Can you think about the absurdity of that? If government bonds default, everything is at risk. But my stocks will pay a dividend. The government bonds are the safest investment in the world, dude. That's all there is to it. There's no other way around that. U.S. government bonds, I should say. If they default, it's all done. We're all over. And it will default at some point. It will at 100%. I literally can't believe someone would utter such words as a U.S. government default as an investing in the context of investing. I find that to be so. Again, don't take this personally, F. Herrick. If government defaults on their debts, the game's over, dude. Everything is. So you might as well build your bunker and get your 50 cal because it's over. It's on at that point. Anyway, the point being is, I think a lot of people think that. I think my man John Gen X, Papa, would you make up your mind? I think a lot of people have this fantasy of Red Dawn, of apocalyptic. I actually kind of think that's why a lot of people fell for the COVID pandemic, because they've been kind of thinking we've been so soft, and we've been kind of thinking on the we've been kind of thinking about like plan Apple, what's apocalyptical, a dystopian thing. Like, man, yeah, and then I'll show them I got my guns, I got my bullets, I'm ready to go, baby. Come after me. I find it freaking frighteningly stupid, actually. It's insane. Like, oh my goodness, the world's going to collapse. The COVID's here. That's why I think a lot of right wingers fell. I think a lot of right wingers fell for it because they felt that was the only way to get Trump to get reelected was to go along. But I also think a lot of right wingers fell for it because they felt like, yeah, this is what we've been waiting for, man. It's what we've been waiting for. Big government's coming. And it's just idiotic. I mean, do we have too many creature comforts? Yes, 100%. No one's going to disagree with that. But does that mean the better alternative is a freaking dystopia? No. It's stupid. We don't want that. We don't want the grid going down, for heaven's sake. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys are almost like drooling. We want EMP. We want friggin', I don't know what it is. It's nuts. I just, we want the dollar to collapse. And the way to avoid that, you losing all your assets is to buy my gold. Wait, and I even have my gold on sale. Wait. So, excuse me now. So you're saying the dollar is going to collapse, and the way to avoid me collapsing my wealth is to have gold. Yes. And you're going to sell that gold to me, which you could also use to protect your own assets if the dollar collapse. Yes. And you're going to sell it to me at a discount because it's on sale. Yes. That makes sense. That makes sense a lot. So basically, you're so worried about the dollar collapsing that you're willing to give me sold gold at a discount. Yes, I am. Okay. There is. All right, Red Room. Chill, baby. Chill, baby. This is the third time I asked about the L Fund. The L Fund. What L Fund? Come on. If you're going to friggin' throw 3 straight questions at me in 5 seconds, at least know what you're talking about. There is no L Fund. There's a life cycle of 2030, 2025, all these funds. That's what the L Fund is. What the hell are you talking about? Come on. Oh, yeah. Everything goes proof. That's all there is to it. I love SPIAs, dude. 100%. Big fan. Long time, first time. Big fan. I'll never forget my man Henry from Oklahoma did a big SPIA a couple years ago. The thing about Henry, you didn't have to worry about any market decline in 2022 because he had everything in the SPIA. Done, done, and done. And I think he would speak highly of his investment in that thing as well. But inflation is death by 1,000 cuts. You'll probably be dead before it really impacts you that much. I'm not even all that worried about inflation, frankly. And the reason I'm not, I mean, look, I get it. I mean, when I'm closing in on getting my book done, and the more you recognize how deeply we've been manipulated on the inflation scaremongering, the more you shouldn't be worried about it. That doesn't mean it can't happen. But with that said, I mean, my goodness, by the time the inflation really nips you in the bud, for let's just for simplicity, because people will say eggs are through the roof now. Everything ebbs and flows. All right, let's just say eggs. A dozen eggs cost $4 a dozen right now. And we'll say in 10 years it costs $8 a dozen. I look, take away the current silliness of what's going on right now. That's a 7% increase in the price of eggs over a 10-year time. A, it's not likely to happen. It could. B, has it ever happened? No. C, okay, now it's at $8. Okay. How many eggs do you actually buy? You know what I'm saying? Come on. I mean, it's just, all right. So then you don't buy that many eggs anyway. Is that big of a deal? The price of gas. All right. Well, how much do you drive when you're retired? Well, I'd like to go see Grandma in Toledo, Ohio. All right. Well, maybe you have to Skype a little bit instead. Inflation is death by 1,000 cuts, so it probably won't happen. Yeah, it won't matter though, Jill. A SPIA, the interest rate's already locked in. So we're talking about SPIA here. Yeah, a single premium income annuity, Mark, is what a SPIA is. And so the nice thing about it, so once you're doing a SPIA, you're locking in for inflation at the interest rates at that time. Right now it makes SPIA even that much more valuable because the interest rates are so much higher. So I'm a big fan of SPIA against a hedge, 100%. And I'm a big fan of fixed CDs. And this is not to say get out of the stocks. The guy I talked today was only 57 years old, still 50% in the C fund, 50% in the G fund, and he's doing the classic barbell. So basically, he's going to need. But you really guys need to really get my man's book here, Benoit Mandelbrot. If I think about it, I'll put a link in the show notes after this thing. I probably won't remember, but so he's got the classic barbell, 50% in C, 50% in G, and we'll just say $500,000 in each, and he needs $50,000 a year is what he's going to need from each account, to make ends meet. So this is the C fund. And this is the G fund. The G is, and he asked, he goes, what about an annuity? He said, what about annuity? So the G fund is basically your annuity. It's government bonds guaranteed with no downside risk. And it's liquid. All right, anyway, so we say 50,000 a year out. I said simply. Now, the TSP is a little bit, you can't really do it like this, but we talked about how you can. So if this guy is down, you take it from here. If this guy is up, you take it from here. That makes sense? Now, it doesn't, again, we have to, what has to happen here is he's got to literally consolidate everything into the G fund or the C fund and then move it back. But, all right, so Red Room comes back. It says, was asking on the mix that the L uses. The L for retiree is now just the L. I'm aware. But anyway, the mix that it's just, I mean, dude, the L fund is just a mix of the S, the C, the F, the I, and the G. So the L2030 fund or the L2020 fund or the L income fund is going to be heavily on the G fund. But I don't care. You can do it. It's fine with me. I literally don't care. But if you're going to put three straight things in there, and I appreciate you doing it caps because that tells me it's a question. Patience, baby, patience. My goodness, all I see is three. Like, dude, pipe down. Especially when there is no specific L fund. It's the L income fund, L2020, whatever it is. I can't remember, life cycle funds. I like them. I got no qualm with them. I like the G fund. I like the C fund. For me, I like simple. I'm a caveman. I like it simple. The G and the C. Fred Mark says, yeah. See. By the way, I appreciate you being a trooper there, Red Rome. If I was a little bit hostile on you, my apologies. Try not to be hostile as much anymore, but I think I am. I feel it. I feel a little bit. I feel my old Josh is back. I like it. Where I'm like, dude, I used to be very polite. And I'm like, I'm not gonna be so polite anymore. I'm starting to ban people more. That piss me off. Pardon me. I'm okay with that. Yeah, we don't have no much time to waste on my man Red Rum not being there. And that guy, whatever that guy's name was, the guy who said the collapse of the Treasury bills. I mean, I guess he hasn't come back. That's fine. I don't get it. My patience is waning for people saying stupid stuff, if that makes sense, or being provocative. I'm not saying Red Rum is being provocative or being overly dramatic. I just don't. It's like, look. I mean, so look. Jill just said eggs down to 2 dozen for $5.38 at Costco. Now remember, they're all saying. So I got pissed and match with this guy about why who was blaming a libtard about why her chickens weren't laying eggs, and he was blaming it because the feed he used and all this, whatever. He said, "Have you never heard of mad cow?" I did a video on that earlier today, and I got no patience for this anymore. I'm just like, You're gonna. I literally don't have time. There's not enough time to waste on people who aren't going to open their eyes. Life's too short, dude. The days are getting shorter, as I did a video the other day on. Anyway, so there you go. It's amazing how these things work. The price of natural gas is down too. I'm stunned by that. I thought for sure I always fall for this, and one of these days I'll be right like a broken clock. But I always fall for this winter's gonna be the worst winter since sliced bread. We're all gonna die because of apocalyptic cold. This is my nature. I'm from Maine, dude. When you're from Maine and you're raised by people who don't know how to pay the bills, and you go home to a freezing cold house, you can't help but worry about freezing cold. It's just the nature of the beast. And as such, my spidey senses on, like my man Mark's here, his spidey senses comes in when he feels uneasy, when I have too much in the stock market. When it starts to bother me, I put another 10% in annuities or precious metals. And that's the way I kind of feel my spidey senses when the winter comes. Like, especially when Sniffy Joe's getting rid of pipelines and stuff. Like, well, how are we going to do this? But it's weird. We found a way. We won't always find a way. It will collapse. No other way around it. It's going to. Empires fall. It will fall. I'm not sure it's going to be a slow decline, which I think is going to happen. Then slowly and slowly, and then quicker and quicker and quicker. 100%. It might not be in our generation, guys. We might not be around. But an expanding empire as a war mongering as our country is now, it has been for many years. It can't keep on like that, and we can pretend otherwise. It just can't. And as such, friggin' enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride. Die by 1,000 cuts of a small inflation on eggs, as opposed to a 35% decline in the market. Especially when you can turn around and get bonds at 4% now. It's crazy. Yeah. Well, gold even goes. I was just reading book Isaiah, so I mean, gold it goes well before Jesus's time as a value. So gold and silver is biblical, and as such, there's always, I don't want to say always, there's probably gonna be someone who wants to buy your gold, Andrew. So but I agree. I don't think gold is a solution. I think everyone should have a little bit of gold. Gold's your old crap money, man. That's what that is. Old crap money. Your old crap money. But having all my stuff in a portfolio of gold bullion, nah, I don't want that. Yeah. So Mark, both bought some small speeds to carry us through. Yeah, till Social Security. Actually, that's another thing too, and I meant to do this video today, I just forgot. But my man, right here. It's like sleep well. Well, T bills don't purchase. T bills are short term. You'd want T bonds, and that'd be 2, 3, 4, 5 year, 10-year, 20-year, 30-year Treasury bonds. T bills are only short term money. I think the most is a year actually. So you'd want the actual Treasury bonds as opposed to bills. It's all the same thing, just longer maturities. What was I going to say? Yeah, so my man sleeps well. Oh, so he did some small right here. He did some small annuities to SPIAs, which are income annuities to get them through until Social Security. I like it 100%, man. And then when Social Security kicks in, you don't have to worry so much about the markets. But anyway, so my man Sudipta Banerjee, I tried to interview him, but he works with T. Rowe Price, and they don't like their guys being interviewed by third-party people, which is too bad. I tried to interview him, but he had written an article just the other day on T. Rowe Price, which I meant to do a video on today, which is it's actually fascinating. And we've known this for a long, long time. But if your guaranteed level of income is here, guess what your spending is in retirement? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Yeah, no, I got you, brother. We all overthink this. Nuts. Don't overthink. Don't have analysis or paralysis by analysis. All right, so if your guaranteed level of income is right here, it's nuts. Actually, the retirees' spending will be right there. They will spend to the extent of their guaranteed income. I'm telling you, man, it's nuts. And I don't care what anybody says. When that 25% drop comes in your portfolio, the vast majority of us are going to be crapping bricks, dudes, when we're retired. So the question is, if our guaranteed income is right here, and we're only going to spend right there, but we have more money, we're like, I'd like to spend more, but I'm scared what to do with it. The way you do it is you push up your guaranteed level of income with annuities. You push that up, and now you've given yourself a nice little sleep tight at night increase. And again, you could argue, and rightly so, because SPIAs are not, they should not be inflation adjustment. That would be nuts. Death by 1,000 cuts on inflation. Again, death by 1,000 cuts on inflation is a hell of a lot better than death by freaking being Dresden with a 30% decline. And so let's just say on inflation here, when you factor in inflation, your actually spending power is dropping off in years 15, 16, 17, 18. Dudes, you're 82 years old by then. Who gives a rat's behind? I'm sorry. When you're 82 years old, you're just not. I mean, look, I get it. We all have a grandma who lives to 100 years old. I get that. The vast majority of people in their mid 80s aren't spending very much. They just don't. They're just like, whatever. It's all good. You got 20 years, man. 20 years where everyone is. What I write down here. They got old. That's what I think about with Lucero. They got old. These guys right here. Pablo, you saw him when I first got him. He's getting older. Look at him. Everything is getting older, dudes. You don't have time to waste, which means you can't afford a market decline. Don't be so freaking arrogant. Like, the market's always come back. Maybe. But I just did the right capital. I showed you that if you don't get that 20% jump, you're still getting 5.5% rate of return. What if you did have a 35% rate of decline and then fall by 15%? Your butt's screwed. I like Pablo's retirement plan. I know it's a classic. That's Pablo's retirement plan. Hi, baby. Look at that guy. Here's the other guy. Hi, baby. So freaking cute, dude. Oh my goodness. All right. Yeah, right on. Fully functional spends nothing. Joe's grabbing bricks. My portfolio took the 37 market decline in 2020. Yeah. They don't look worried. They're not worried, man. With CD rates at 5% combined with a 7.5% reverse mortgage growth rate in line of credit, 100%. Great 3-bucket strategy using the equity in your home, guarantee CD rates. And I still think you should have some stocks, man. Don't get me wrong. I mean, stocks, growing dividends make me. Oh, you know what? Did I post this already? I don't think I did. Remember when? Did I? I don't think I did post this. I was laughing my hiney off. Let's see if I have it. Remember how Dividend just cut their, Intel just cut their dividends? Yeah, I didn't post it. Oh man, Intel cut their dividends. They spent $300 million on DEI stuff in the last 5 years. So Intel just cut their dividend. They spent $300 million on DEI stuff. Yeah. Nothing. Just a coincidence, Josh. Yeah. Because that DEI pays dividends. Actually, cut your dividends. Oh my goodness. What a waste. Totally. Which is why I'm telling people, man. Melvin says 40%. I don't know but where's your cash money? I mean, you still need money to live. You still need some liquidity there. So if you have 40% SPIA, that's not liquid, and 60% stocks is aggressive. I mean, I don't have any. I mean, hopefully you got some money in the bank, dude. I mean, you gotta have some bank money too. But anyway, so you think about it. DEI. Do you think Intel actually believed that that's going to help profitability? I mean, I'm sure some stupid HR people did. The powers that be at Intel knew it was going to help with profitability. They knew it was just get the Jesse Jacksons off our back. I mean, this is how it works, and we're going to play lip service to DEI. Really, what it is to get cheap labor for sure from India, because that's different. Those are black and brown. No, I'm not talking about black Americans. We're talking about cheap labor from overseas. It's diversity is our strength. It's even more of our strength with cheap labor. It's freaking nuts. Anyway, the issue is, of course, is that the DEI and these companies playing more and more allegiance to it because of social credit scores and ESG and stuff. It's not for maximizing gains for stockholders anymore. It's for sharing the stakeholders' equity. We all have a stake. That's why we're all stakeholders. So we got to be more equitable. Equitable, not equality, mind you. Equitable. Interesting. Big difference there. And so we're going to spend $300 million on diversity, whatever the other two stupid things are. And that will go to our bottom line, but it'll pay dividends in the long run because Jesse Jackson won't come after us for calling us racist. And we can't be called racist because it makes us so scared. We don't want someone saying we're racist. The cocktail parties don't want to hang out with someone who's called a racist. So don't call us racist. I will lay you off equally. 100%, man. Yeah, we call that socialism with a commissar, a political commissar. What's your GII statement there, Josh? To do the best job I can. Oh, how dare you? To show up on time. What? How dare that's white supremacy? Show up on time and do the best job you can. Oh my goodness. Next thing you know, you're going to call people sir and ma'am. How dare you? You need to go into remedial training, post at a re-education camps. Thoughts on, I don't know the first thing about it. I'm sure it's a call option fund. I wouldn't touch the 10-foot pole. You can. All right, so let's just, now I'm going to get out of here in just a second. Let's just go back to my man here. So JEPQ is selling options on dividend payers, I imagine. So let's just go back to how this seems to work in reality, or how it actually works in reality by using our good buddies at Intel. All right. So let me show you what I'm talking about. It's called a buy right strategy. Oops, wrong one. Where you're buying the stock, or you hold the stock, and you're selling covered calls against it to generate income. All right, so there's Intel. All right, so if you were selling covered calls right there, you kept the shares. That's great, because no one's going to call away your shares when the price is going down. All right, you kept the shares, you kept generating income, but the price is going down like crazy. So now, let me just ask you something here. You're going to keep writing calls against this. You're going to keep writing covered calls against when the price is right here. What happens when Intel jumps 5-10% in 3 weeks' time? Like what happened to Exxon? What happens? Well, you wrote it down here, and now your shares are called. Your shares are called away from you right there. You've locked in losses. Unless you stop selling calls against that because it's so far down. I tell you, man, happy your old buddy Josh had PetSmart selling covered calls against it for when it went down. It was back in 2000, 2001 was at Schwab. It's on the trading desk, and it sounds fancier than it is. Trust me, it's just a call center, but they call it your trading desk. It wasn't like a trading desk. Whoa, hey, it was like that. Just some guy said, I want to play some option trades. You're like, okay, I'll do it for you. Pretty easy to do. It was kind of stressful. I didn't like it. Anyway, so I rode PetSmart. I sold, I don't know, it was like 50, selling covered calls against it. Covered calls went all the way down to 4. There's Josh Wellner. See the video I did on my main channel, Josh, about how your old girl Janet Mills is going to put more offshore wind turbines into the Atlantic Ocean there. Sure, the right whales will know not to mess with those offshore wind turbines and the wires that connect them to hold them to the ground. I'm sure the right whales say, no. We'll get in the lobster nets, but we won't touch those wires over there because, that's for green energy. Anyway, so what happens is I kept selling covered calls, generating income, covered calls, generating income. PetSmart went down about 4. I said, well, I'm going to ride this puppy out. PetSmart went up to 8, got my shares called from me. And so all the income I generated was wiped out in 2 seconds flat. I'm not worried about World War III in the least. Not in the least. We can't win, so we're not going to fight it. Anyway, so basically, why I made, let's say, 10% of income or 15% doesn't matter on PetSmart. I lost 90% on the stock. You see what I'm saying? So it was a big loser for me. And that's the thing with these covered calls. As long as the price of the shares that they're selling covered calls stays flat, is great. The minute that price goes down or up, frankly, significantly, you're screwed. If it goes up, it's fine. But Intel is a perfect example of companies that have cut their dividend. GE, all these companies do. When they cut their dividends, the price goes down. You're writing covered calls against it because it used to be a reliable source of dividend payers, and now it's not. And now your goose is cooked. There's no two ways around it. Some wild thought streams. Okay. Todd saying, I come here for the financial planning. I don't want to hear conspiracy theories. Then friggin' leave, dude. I don't care. You think I do this for Todd? I do it for me. It's fun. You don't have to be here. Don't give a rat's behind. Wait, what is the wild live stream? Wild thing dude, of all the wild things I go off on, the only thing I could possibly think you're griping about is the friggin' right whales in Maine. Because my man Josh Wellner, who's a lobsterman, they're trying to put him out of business because wind turbine owners want to put the lobstermen out of business so they could put the freaking wind turbines in the Maine waters. This is a fact, dude. And if you don't believe it, pound sand. I don't care. But you're the problem because you know what the hell you're talking about. The facts are that's what's happening in our very eyes. And people like you, if this is what you're griping about, my wild theories, you said that right as I was talking about that. So I have to assume that's what you're talking about. Your ignorance is causing massive chaos for mom and pop lobstermen in the state of Maine. On top of that, your ignorance is going to cause massive chaos for people in the state of Maine, and frankly, in many blue states as well, who think they can rely on wind to provide the electrical sources that they need, all the while electrifying everything. And that's just stupid. And I'm tired of stupidity. We're going to increase the load by electrifying everything. So no more gas, no more freaking natural gas to heat your home. Everything's going to be heat pumps, which is stupid. No more natural gas on your range there, your oven. It's going to be electrified. That's just stupid. And then we're going to make EVs, get rid of ICEs. And that's just stupid. And what we're going to do, we're not going to bring nuclear on. We're going to reduce, outright get rid of by 2040 in the state of Maine any fossil fuel electricity generation source. So basic economics there, Todd. There we go. You ready? Basic economics here, man. Supply goes down. Let's see if Todd can get this right. I bet he's not here because he wanted to be a gamma. See, you're really bothering me. I wish you would stand financial planning. It's like what Rush Limbaugh said, the stick to the issues crowd. I used to love that. So I always loved hearing Rush's stories about playing golf and, loving the Pittsburgh Steelers. I love that more than the other stuff I did. And he said, people get really mad. I'm talking about the Steelers. I always loved it. So supply goes down, demand goes up. What happens to prices, Todd? Supply goes down. That's the blue. Demand goes up. Why does supply go down, Todd? I got to talk really slowly because I don't think you can get it. Ready? Why does supply go down? Because they're getting rid of electricity generation from fossil fuels. They're not bringing nuclear on. So supply goes down because wind and solar aren't going to get the job done. Thus, less supply. And they can only use so much hydro from Quebec. There's only so much hydro in the world, dude. That's it. In fact, the green don't even like hydro anymore. And probably with some legitimacy, I will add to that. So we have sources of electricity that come from where? Oh, it comes from fossil fuels, things like coal, natural gas, oil. We get rid of those by 2040, says esteemed Governor Janet Mills, and we increase the load, the demand with electric vehicles. That's easy. We just plug into a 120 wall. No big deal. Okay, ain't gonna work. And guess what? We electrify everything. Heat pumps, gas ranges are gone. It's gonna be electrical now. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. So we increase the load and we get rid of the supply. And just like Obama said, under my plan, the price of electricity will have to skyrocket. And if that's a crazy conspiracy, then I will be proud to call myself a conspiracy theorist. 100%. Don't get me started on the moon landing. I didn't even say anything about the moon landing tonight, and Todd's already pissy at me. What's he talking about the moon landing? Damn, dude. I get people don't like that. I don't like believe the moon landing, but I didn't say anything about the moon landing today. I'm talking about the freaking stupid wind turbines. It's a freaking clown show. Is pot must be my pot must be off the chart. It's short-lived. It's short-lived. It's a war. The greenies are trying to put us down, Shorty the Frenchie. And that's a cute dog. It's a war. You can't sit idly by while morons are spouting off nonsense. I'm not saying Todd's doing this, but there are morons that are spouting off nonsense that freaking wind turbines and solar are going to provide the electricity we need when we're turning around and giving more and more demand to the electricity. You can't sit there idly by and accept that argument because it's freaking stupid on its face. And the people who make it are just, they're preaching the death of us, man. There's no other way around that. But we are helping. Nah, dude. No, you weren't commenting. No, this is game of behavior, Todd. Let's read. All right, so let's pick on Todd a little bit. This is fun. Thanks for playing, Todd. You actually seem like an all right guy. Thanks for playing. Hey, look, see, here's my man F. Herrick. I told him I was going to beat on him a little bit, and he's back. He's okay. And Red Room is even back here. So you guys are all right. All right. But here, let's see. Todd said, I was just commenting on your stream. Now, let's see what Todd said. You guys ready? Yeah, Woody Harrelson, dude. What the hell? That guy was crushing. Lehman Talks. I don't know who that is. All right, so here's Todd. Ready? So Todd says, there are a lot of strawman arguments there, Josh. And I assume he's talking about what we were just saying with my man Josh Wellner, because Josh Wellner brought up the idiocy of wind turbines. He didn't, but when I see him, it makes me think of stupid Janet Mills and what they're trying to do to the people of the good state of Maine. Unfortunately, it kills me. That's why I probably can never live back in Maine, because it's just overrun by fools. And I just can't, dude. I just can't take it. And the sad thing is, the vast majority of Mainers aren't fools, but there's enough fools in there to I don't know, whatever. It is what it is, man. Nothing you can do about it. Anyway, so there are a lot of straw man arguments there. I like your financial thoughts, but you do tend to go off some wild thought streams. It's your YouTube channel. You can do as you please. I chose to watch you. So on me if I think you're being a little wild in your thinking. I'd love to keep hearing your thoughts about financial planning. Please keep up the good work on that. Come on. You think I'm a rookie? I've been doing this YouTube channel for 6 years. My fifth video was on the need for fossil fuels. My fifth video was on the need for fossil fuels. A couple of weeks later, I did a video on how we need large LPTs, large, I can't remember what they're called off the top of my head. It's been a while since I've done it. I've always stood on this channel against the climate change Nazis, always, and I will always do it every single time. And people have always said, I like her. I've always, I can't, I remember I did a video, probably one of my first walk and talk with Josh, talk with the insanity of the solar panel Nazis. And people, I wish you stand financial planning. And like, I like solar panels. I will get some in my retirement home. They're not going to you're not going to get electricity generation to fund this whole damn country, though. It ain't going to happen on solar panels. That's freaking stupid. It's just dumb to even assume that could be possible. People, all we got to take is 1/10 of Texas, and we'll get all of the world the electricity we need. It's so idiotic. I'm embarrassed to even get in this debate. So I've been anti-climate change idiots for years because I know the death knell that comes. The death knell that comes is an increase in inflation because of high cost of energy, people living less well as we are right now, and of course the rich won't suffer the consequence. It'll just be us regular folks, dudes. And sadly, many regular folks are too freaking got their heads in their phones so they can't think straight. It's crazy. Yeah, just a little bit passive aggressive there. As you're a YouTube channel, you do what you want, but I just think you're being a little wild in your thinking. I'm not being pissy. Well, you are being pissy. This is what being pissy is. This is passive aggressive right there. That's being pissy. And we call that gamma. That's a gamma behavior. Without saying just because the issue is kind of like people say, I used to like your channel until you went off on COVID. I've had that many times. I used to like your channel until you went off on mass. I've had that many times. And some guy said, I can't remember who it was, maybe someone here tonight. He said, this isn't the airport. You don't know you're leaving. No. All right, we're gonna get out of here, man. Yeah, look at my man Red Room. No, I'm not going back. Dude, my Sabbath, it was hard. I almost did a live stream yesterday, not a live stream, but a video yesterday. It was hard not to, but I got to keep the Sabbath. Dude, I got to keep the Sabbath. I don't care what stupid Paul says. I'm keeping the Sabbath, if that makes sense. And I don't care. Paul, no. You got to keep Sabbath. I don't know what that means for you, anybody. I just know for me, keeping the Sabbath is actually wonderful. It does give you a chance to kind of reconvene your thoughts and to kind of take a break. There's, dude, the amount of amazing stuff when you just read the good book, you're like, man, God, how did you know? Well, because he's God. Yeah, I'm not anti-solar. I just want to be, I'm not anti-photovoltaic. And I'm certainly not anti-solar thermal, not in the least. I'm anti the idea that solar photovoltaic is going to provide enough electricity generation for our country that is growing in the load. We can't do it as it is now, and then we're going to electrify more. It's such an impossibility. It boggles the mind. And people will have to come up with fancy schmancy stuff saying, like the unicorns, oh, well, the efficiency is getting better. I'm like, do people not know how the sun's rays work? It's weird to me. Oh, the battery's coming. I said, we're still using lead acid batteries as the vast majority of our batteries. And by the way, batteries don't just fall from the sky. You still got to mine the material. It's insane. And even if you have lithium batteries, they still don't keep a charge for as long as you need them to do. All this stuff is well known to anyone who just freaking open up a freaking book. But you don't have to open a book. Just do any kind of basic research. And you can see all your Tesla Powerwalls aren't going to do a doggone thing, man. It's mind-bogglingly stupid. If you want to get rooftop solar in your retirement house, that's freaking awesome. I don't know why you would not get a battery back. You should. If the whole point of solar is to get you somewhat off grid, you're not off grid if it's grid tied, but the whole point of solar is to be separate from the grid or not have to pay as much electricity. Okay, that's fine. I mean, you're only being subsidized. Those subsidies are going to come to an end. They're starting to come to an end anyway of you selling your electricity back to the grid. The grid doesn't need your electricity at noon. They don't know what to do with it. They're sitting there thinking, we don't need all this extra voltage. We don't know what to do with it. The grid doesn't, but it's being subsidized right now. Those days are going to come to an end. Your electricity generation does not want your freaking electricity that you generate at noon. They don't have a capacity for it. This is a fact. They're forced to pay you for that solar generation. They don't need it. Now, The whole point is it'd be great if there's some awesome battery that we could just park that electricity in to store for future use. It ain't there. It's not coming. It's not coming. And they always say, "Oh man, you're just like the Luddites." Okay, we've been looking at solar photovoltaic for freaking decades upon decades. We've always looked at batteries. The the battery of choice is still the good old fashioned lead acid battery. That's it. The way to store electricity is through this thing called uranium. If we don't start building in a mass scale nuclear power plants, there's something that's going to give in our day to day lives. And it's going to be your standard of living and mine because the electricity is going to get so incredibly expensive due to scarcity that very few people are going to be afford to have the kilowatt hours of consumption that we use every single day. It's not going to happen. And as such, the only alternative is uranium. And if we don't use over uranium, because everyone's scared crapless of it, it's over. And when I say it's over, it doesn't mean we're dead. It just means our quality of life is going to suffer, which is kind of what the globalists want. Don't you know that? It's weird how that's kind of what they want. They don't want green. They don't want you to rub shoulders with them like it used to be, the old fashioned fiefdoms. Oh, dude, it's horrible. 90-day minimum when the itches go away and they start feeling, yeah, maybe I will try that. Yeah, dude, it's great. And then they want to use farmland and say, oh, but we can plant. No, you can't. It's so, it's crazy. You can make an argument for wind turbines that you can use the land I mean, I think it's a horrible argument to make. But you certainly don't want cows grazing under there. Talk about mad cow disease. My goodness, imagine mad cows grazing under a freaking wind turbine. Sorry, you can't have any grazing going on. You're not going to have this massive farm. It just is so it's so stupid. It's look, man. I went this year saying I was going to be a calmer person. It's just not me. I'm just not like that. And as such, the arguments present themselves, and I can't remain calm when arguments are made from a position of just incredible weakness and ignorance. But they're made as if they were not on from weakness and ignorance. And some, it's, I mean, and this is really literally putting people out of work. My man Josh here, who's a lobsterman up in Maine, Big Green wants to put him and the whole mom and pop history of Maine lobstermen out of work because of fake stuff. It's all, but they don't care about the right whales. They just want wind turbines. They don't care. And yet people say, well, maybe they are overfishing. It has nothing to do with overfishing. It has to do with the right whales. They're going extinct supposedly because of lobstermen in Maine. No evidence of that whatsoever. And so what we do is we stop the lobstermen in Maine and we put these wind turbines where the lobstermen needs to go. And how those wind turbines secured? Oh, with wires. Shocking. All right. That's enough, man. I'm gonna get out of here. Yeah. No, I had clients in Texas, oil and gas rights and wind turbines who were making bank. I had one lady I'll never forget, and she was getting like 50, 60,000 a year. Then like a couple years later, it's like down to 25,000 bucks. Nah, you didn't get me wound up. I'm always wound up, dude. It's just who I am. That's the thing. I'm a pretty hyper guy. I like me. I'm okay with that. Yeah, Clarice, look at that. Look at that. So you have a picture of a beautiful, looks like poppies or some kind of meadows, Clarice. Um, I'm glad I'm back. Right on. Exactly, Brad. Only because the government subsidizing. Right on. Because they're not. I mean, your brother is literally living on government money. But anyway, Clarice, look at that. So I assume you're a green, i.e., a nature lover, because that's a beautiful picture. You don't actually think wind turbines. I don't want to say they work. I grant you in terms they actually spin a generator to provide electricity. I get that. You don't actually. You might not answer this. That's fine. You don't fall for the idea that right on. No, I never really left, Mark. I don't. They looked like poppies, didn't they? It looks like poppies. what's the other one for a ground cover? I'm drawing a blank, man. You got winter rye and not poppies. I used them out by my backyard a couple years ago. They freaking gorgeous flowers. I can't remember. Oh, she falls for the money. I don't know about that, Mark. It's a beautiful picture of a pasture meadow. But she said her brother gets a $3,000 a month for a wind turbine. I'm just wondering if she is of the nature that the wind turbines and my green pasture, that's a match made in heaven. Not not poppies. Yeah. See, there you go. Glad you have thick skin, F. Herrick. That's good stuff, man. Because it's a good comment right there. It's actually funny as hell. That sucks, dude. Thanks, freaking half-wit. Anyway, so if I offended anybody, my apologies. I don't really try to. And my man Todd's probably all right. Maybe I'm a little bit thin-skinned. Just the way I've been, kind of the way I've always been. But anyway, it's not poppies. That was actually funny though. That's I can't remember. So it's a ground cover where you plant them in the wintertime so they can keep the soil with the stems and all that stuff, generating all kinds of micro fungi, mycorrhizal fungi, and keep it aerated. That's what those ground covers do. Ground crops, cover crops, what it's called, cover crops. Indian paintbrush. That doesn't sound right. Another. Yeah. I'm not picking on you. I just don't think wind turbines. I think they're evil. I'm not gonna lie to you. Wind turbines are evil. All right. With that said, so don't take it wrong. I gotta make sure people aren't mad at me for you're picking on me. I don't mean to be if I am, but just whatever. Anyway, all right, let's get out of here. Let's say quick prayers. Heavenly Father, we thank you for our time together. We pray for a wonderful week, and always here I am again saying, please give me the. Always do everything for the glory of God. And I know on this live stream, I did not do everything for the glory of God. I ask for forgiveness, Lord, and to be better next time. You're a wonderful, loving God who loves us all, each individually. You loved us so much. You made us in your image, and you send your only Son in this world to die for our sins. That does not mean we are forgiven for our sins, that we can continue to do that. It does not mean we can continue to sin against you. It just means you forgive us for our sins. But when we do sin, we need to see and ask for forgiveness because it's the only way forward. It's the only way forward, but we've got to ask for forgiveness. I pray in Jesus' name, amen. All right, my friends, get out of here, man. It's all good. God bless. We'll see ya.